Hello,
Hello.
I'm Mark,
And I am Joe.
and this is Finish Big.
I want to tell you a story.
Okay.
It's all about two gays on a Big Finish podcast. Some broad came into their home and said, "You guys..." No, I don't know where I'm going with this.
Is that your Frobisher impression?
I'm trying very hard, yeah.
Well, welcome back, hoes. We are
There's so many Big Finish hoes out there now, you know.
listening our way through Big Finish releases
Yes.
in a kind of order.
Yes, well, you're just sorting out the order.
Yes, there is logic to it, although it might not seem like it this week.
Well, these ones didn't come out at the same time. These are a bit all over the place this week.
Well, they're like random ones that don't fit into anything around here at the time, so that's why.
Can I just drop a quick spoiler before we even do anything?
Okay.
A mixed bunch this week. So if you were delighted by our meteoric positivity over Judge Dredd last week, well, saddle up, folks. Because we've got a mixed bunch of stories here.
So we're looking at 3 releases this time, and they are the Maltese Penguin.
I didn't get any quotes, so I'm just going to say I didn't get any quotes.
Real Time,
Oh, Doctor, I'm being converted.
and No Place Like Home.
Here, pussy, pussy, pussy.
Yeah. I mean, should we just go in one by one, because they're not really connected in any way, so we can't really do any
Can you
overview.
explain why these three are, in fact, bolted together for this episode of
Well, they're
Finish
sort of random. Well, so the Maltese Penguin, that was like a bonus.
Penguin?
Penguin. Was like a bonus, the first subscriber one.
Do you know, wasn't that a good idea?
So if you subscribe to a certain amount, or like year or 6 months,
So I think you got like a money off.
you got a freebie.
And you got a freebie.
I only ever subscribed once to Big Finish. I've never done a big subscription.
Which year?
I did a 6 month only because I could get that 5 companions one. You couldn't get anywhere else.
Okay. What other subscriber bonuses were there apart from these two?
Well, there was quite a few. There was, I think after this is Her Final Flight, Cryptobiosis, just off the top of my head. 5 companions, the 4 doctors.
This is why I've never heard any of them, because I didn't subscribe to nothing.
No.
I'm that bloody idiot that was buying each release each time.
I know.
Going down London, Forbidden Planet.
Yeah. So that's just sort of random on its own. And then we've got Real Time, which was actually BBCi, but then Big Finish recorded it and released it on CD, but it was actually more of officially a BBC release.
I saw that on the BBC website, you know.
Yeah. And then also No Place Like Home, which came free with Doctor Who magazine.
That was just completely free.
Yeah, there's quite a few of those freebie ones, aren't there?
What do you get now, then, if you subscribe to Big Finish? Do you get any freebies now?
I think you can still select one, possibly.
Of these old ones?
Yeah. Well, they went to bundles instead, didn't they? And I think the subscription stopped with the main range stop. I don't know. I don't really do that.
I think if you subscribe now, you just get a lot of money off,
you get a bundle, and then you get a bonus download short story.
I think a good idea would be for them to say, like, have 5 minutes with Colin Baker. Or something like that.
Excuse me.
I mean, on a Zoom call.
All right.
Oh, maybe not 5 minutes. Actually, if it was every person that was
5
subscribing...
minutes with Colin Baker. He charges about £120 for a cameo. That's like 3 minutes.
No. He wants them to buy the release. Excuse me. Colin Baker's on those... He's on the Terror the Vervoids commentary saying to people... Michael Craig goes, "Oh, no, they'll be so angry. They'll hurl their DVDs across the room." And he goes, "Oh, no, wait, they'll break them." And Colin Baker goes, "Good, they'll have to buy another one." He's always aware of the dollar, Colin Baker. So and every Big Finish release that sells, he must get royalties and stuff. So he'd be tempted it. But no, wait, I've got a new plan. Instead of giving everybody 5 minutes in a dark room with Colin Baker, instead, you could bundle everyone sort of together on one Zoom call and make that 5 minutes, and then you can say, "Hello, everybody, thank you for subscribing," and all of this. You know, better than just a bit of money off.
I think that's just a convention.
Oh, okay. All right.
Anyway, let's talk about the first release.
I'm just trying to give Big Finish some ideas.
Okay, well, let's talk about their ideas that they had here for this first one. The Maltese Penguin.
Yeah.
So this was released in July 2002, like we say, as a subscriber bonus. Its number on the spine is actually 33 and a half. Which is quite
No,
cute.
it's not. And a half?
And a half.
No.
It's 33 was Neverland. it stars Colin Baker and Robert Jezik back as Frobisher.
Now look, they had some heady heights to scale. Oh, sorry.
This was written by Robert Sherman.
Yeah.
Sherman. And directed by Gary Russell.
Gary Russell, yes.
I don't know why I said it like that.
Top director at this point.
Music by David Darlington.
Yes, I did like the music in this, actually, you know. Especially, there was this sort of very uplifting, sort of mournful music towards the end of the story when Frobisher's going, you know, I'm going to hang my head up and go off on adventures with a duck, you know. But one last kiss with my great love. And you hear all the beaks snogging against each other.
So the last time we heard Frobisher was the Holy Terror, the main range release.
Yeah.
This is the only other time that he is released on CD.
This was quite... the Holy Terror was so good for me, wasn't it? That this had to work very hard indeed.
And written by Robert Sherman again.
Yeah, I know.
No one talks about this release.
No, that's right. And Robert Sherman actually is here saying he has a bit of a love-hate relationship with Frobisher. So given that he's written the only 2 Big Finish audios for them, that is a bit of a problem. Yeah.
Well, it is a little bit like a companion chronicle in that it's Frobisher telling the story.
Yes.
Which is a perfect way to... I mean, it's about an hour.
Yes.
So it's a quite contained story. Frobisher is narrating through, and the clever part is it uses Frobisher's shape-shifting abilities. So he's telling the story. The Doctor, as Colin Baker, does pop in, but then the majority of the story, it's actually Frobisher on his own, but he's morphed into the 6th Doctor. Therefore, Colin Baker can play American.
I don't know if you ever heard Colin Baker read out the Attack of the Cybermen.
No.
The BBC cassette that they did. And he does the sort of terrible American accent. Well, that's exactly the same accent he's adopting in the Maltese Penguin to play Frobisher.
I think it's fun. It gives him something different to play.
Did you like this then?
It was all right. It was okay. It wasn't terrible. I got it at the time. I must have bought it. I didn't subscribe, so I must have just bought... I don't know how I got it, but I bought it at some point. I think I heard this before Holy Terror, even, so this was my first exposure to Frobisher.
You, Holy Terror had a lot to live up to.
Yeah, and it does lean into from where Frobisher came with the comic books. So we've got Dog Bolter.
Yes, as played by Toby Longworth.
Doing another great American impression.
Oh, he's got a great voice.
And so Dog Bolter is from the Doctor Who magazine comic strips.
Yes.
And appears again and again, actually, in a couple of... The Quantum Possibility Engine.
Yes,
much later on.
Yeah, during that terrible run of stories with Sophie Aldred and Bonnie Langford.
But, I mean, it's fairly harmless as... Obviously, the Maltese Penguin is based on the Maltese Falcon. So it's that genre. It's very much... Okay, I'm going to have a bit of a rant. You know that I hate when Star Trek The Next Generation...
Yes.
...has run out of ideas.
They do this in an episode.
Every series
Film noir,
does.
detectives.
Everybody rips off the Maltese Falcon. I think it's a typical Star Trek The Next Generation. Oh, we've run out of ideas. We're going to do something gangster in the holodeck. I swear The Simpsons have done it. Like any sort of genre TV show has done their own gangster version. And this is Doctor Who's version. Actually, for Doctor Who's version of it, it's not bad.
Oh, don't you be ratting on Star Trek for doing this?
Oh, Star Trek does it even worse.
Doctor Who does this.
Can I get you a drink of whiskey?
No, in the Star Trek episode version of this, The Big Goodbye, where Captain Picard plays Dixon Hill, he invites Dr. Beverly Crusher to come on to their holodeck, but this is before they sort of figured out what the holodecks are all about, so she don't know that the safeties are off and people can actually die. So they come in with an ensign and he gets shot and Dr. Beverly thinks it's all a game and she's going, and clapping her hand. Do you remember?
I watched that one, yeah.
Yeah. Very brave of you.
I mean, you either like that kind of thing or you don't. You cannot get away from it. This is what it is. This woman comes in, oh, Frobisher, I got a job for you. But a bit like at the beginning of Invaders from Mars with the 8th Doctor.
Exactly the same as that.
It's ripping off exactly the same thing.
Except,
and even the voices
I'm going to be harsh because Jane Goddard ain't no Jessica Hines.
No. And even some of the other voices in that part of the gangster crew. There's a guy.
You got Alistair Locke doing the
guys. Oh, hey, you're rubbish. That guy.
That sounds very authentic.
There is a guy in the actual film, and he's a really famous actor, and he's in loads of films around that time, and he speaks like that as well. It's all just totally ripped from the film.
Don't you remember Mr. Mouse from Invasion of Mars?
Yeah, exactly the same again.
Same character, isn't it? That sort of Weasley.
Yeah, but that's based on a real guy in this film as well.
Oh, okay.
It's all ripped off, and it follows basically the same kind of story, but obviously gives it a sci-fi slant. I like the twist. There is a bit of a twist in this. I did like that. So when Frobisher finds the body and the blood sort of trickles away, moves away from the body, and then later on it turns out that it's another. Is it a Whiffadil? Whiffadrill?
Right. That's Jen Goddard again.
Yeah.
She's getting a lot of work. Yeah. Rob Schumer's running a lot of work for his wife here. Oh, well, you didn't ask me at all what I thought of this.
Well, what do you think of this?
I've been letting you give your opinion for a change.
Right.
I feel like people think I sort of stamp all over your opinion a bit, so I thought I'd wait a bit. Yeah, I didn't like this at all. In fact, I thought this was very poor. I was extremely bored listening to most of this. Why are you looking so shocked?
Because you love the Sixth Doctor and you love Frobisher.
You literally look like Uber from Catfish right now when he's figured out that the person's being catfished.
I can't believe it.
I thought this was really thin. It had no plot. It had the start of a plot, and it had the end of a plot, and in between, you just had people in rooms talking. There was no plot progression. And, yeah. No, wait. I want to say the production was good. I thought the music was good. I thought the performances were fun. I think this was very well written. And interestingly, Rob Shearman don't think this was very well written either. Now, I was starting to have these thoughts, and then I picked up the Bible as we were listening, and I'll read out some of his quotes. So he basically says, as a script, he thinks it's amusing to read, but it's also, without question, the worst piece of work he's ever done for Big Finish. It's trying very hard to make you laugh, but it's not actually very engaging. It's a parody without a point. He talks about Dog Bolter. He says, I don't think I did him justice. I wanted a suave villain like Sidney Greenstreet, but the comic script creation is a bit colder than that and far more brutal. This is why I wasn't engaged with this. He says, when the script requires every single cast member to adopt outrageous accents, and you've talked about this before in Invaders from Mars, and impersonate famous actors, the whole thing feels artificial. And it did. It felt like everybody trying really hard to make this sort of quirky, rather than sort of a story that was breathing and telling its own story. And I do think Robert Jezek is very good as Frobisher. I don't know if he should be the lead in the story.
Well, no, I mean, it's not the greatest thing ever, but as a bonus throwaway extra thing, I think it does its job, and it is entertaining.
Well, I wasn't entertained. Sorry. Rob Shearman also says the monologues largely don't work. They're meant to be swaggering arrogance and boasting. So he's supposed to be sort of a bit egotistical.
Well, he's telling back the story and it's embellished.
But what he says is that Robert Jezek performs them as exposition and narration. And so they bring the audience out of the scene. And it's true, because there is as many narrated scenes as there are scenes between the scenes of dialogue between the characters. So you're constantly being pulled away from...
Yeah, but that's no different to a Companion Chronicle.
No, Companion Chronicle is all narrated.
No, it's not. Not all of the time.
No,
not all
for
of
the most part,
Companion
Chronicles are first-person narration.
But yeah, that's
I feel
what
like you're a bit affronted because I didn't enjoy this.
That's what I got from it, and I thought he's telling about the story, and yeah, he is explaining what's going on, which is very helpful. But he's embellishing it. That's where sort of the part of the comedy comes from. He's like, well, and this was great, and this happened, and then it happens, and it's not how he said. It's not as good as how he's not coming across as the hero that he's telling everybody that he is. I thought that was the whole point.
Yeah.
It's Frobisher.
Yeah. Well, and then the whole point is it's supposed to be like a sympathetic look at Frobisher, isn't it? It's supposed to sort of make you feel for him. And I did the one moments that I really enjoyed was every time the Doctor invaded the story to say, "Hello, Frobisher. Oh, you want to come away with me? I've just saved the universe twice, you know." Did I mention that twice, Frobisher? And Frobisher's like, no, I got a case on. Go away, Doctor. You and me are fruit. And we all know he's going to go with him at the end. But that was because it was Robert Jesek playing Frobisher and the Doctor, Colin Baker playing the Doctor. So it felt like a scene between two characters that we know and love. My other big issue with this is I do not like film noir. It's a genre that doesn't interest me at all. I think it's always a bit thin. It's always the woman coming in with a case.
No, it's not always. There's great film noir films out there. We'll have to watch some.
Well, you're going to have to prove me wrong.
We'll watch some, don't worry.
I'm sure they're terribly atmospheric. I've seen sort of some fabulous lighting, the Venetian blinds across the face and all this. But, I don't know, I just thought this was a bit boring. If I'd have got this as a subscriber bonus, I'd have said, well, I'm not subscribing again. And, you know, I think my biggest issue is the Holy Terror is like the zenith for me. And so this feels like a very poor relation. It's well made. It's just not for me.
Well, there we go. Enough said.
Duck, has spoken.
You have spoken. You also know the music was really good, actually. I did like the music.
The music is great. And I've got to say, both Colin Baker and Robert Jesek are terrific.
Oh, it's performed brilliantly.
Yeah. I think this is entirely down to the script, and given that Robert Shearman is the first person to criticise this, I'm going to agree with him.
Well, subscribers don't get more at bigfinish.com, according to you. Subscribers,
How do you
save
do a Nick
cash.
Briggs voice? Subscribers get a load of...
He's not gay.
Get a load of shit from Big Finish.
No, Nicholas Briggs is... Subscribers get more at bigfinish.com. No, that's too late.
You're sounding like £6 now.
Subscribers get more. No. I can't do a Big Briggs voice. Well, yours is sounding gay Australian.
Oh,
Subscribers get more. Hang on.
Subscribers get more. Okay, go on. Get us back on track quick.
Next.
All we can say is this: you ain't getting nothing more for fucking subscribing to Finish Big, all right? You just get us. Oh no! Will you move us on quickly?
Well, next is Real Time. This was broadcast on BBC I in August 2002.
BBC I.
It was the BBC website.
What's the I part of it though?
It means
Internet.
interactive. BBC I.
BBC Interactive.
Which means a website back in the day.
Can you interact with this then?
Well, you press play.
You push a button, okay.
And this starred Colin Baker and Maggie
Excuse me,
Stables.
who?
Colin Baker.
Collegend.
Legend Baker.
That's right, you've got to get that
and
right.
Maggie Stables.
Oh, yes.
This also guest starred E.G. So,
The
back
Asian
again
child.
from the TV movie. He's back. He was recording Excelis one day, and then because he was doing a
is that
convention, well, I assume he just came over for one weekend, and they just got him to record loads of stuff.
Well, what about when he played against Daphne Ashbrook in the Companion Chronicles?
Oh, I think that was a later time.
Another visit.
Yeah, another
He
visit.
might have zoomed in or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was 6 episodes.
Yeah.
As I say on the player.
6 short episodes.
Yes, written by Gary Russell and directed by Gary Russell.
Hmm.
I didn't watch this at the time at all.
I did.
It passed me by completely.
Do you know what?
Because
I
Sharda
didn't-
was after this, and I'd got Sharda.
Oh, yeah, that was
And
fabulous.
I didn't do Death Comes to Time, which was before this.
No, that was before, yeah. No, I did. But what's weird is, given some of the more graphic material of Real Time, is I didn't remember anything about it at all. Like, not the plot, not anything. All I remembered was something dreadful happened to Evelyn at the end.
Yeah, that's all I knew about it going into it.
Yeah, well, you hadn't watched it. Oh, did someone spoil
That's
you?
all I heard about it.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I didn't even realise they were like short, so they're like 10-minute episodes, and then Big Finish have released it on CD.
I have to say, I have a lot of behind-the-scenes information about Real Time.
God.
Would you like that first?
Let's get the gossip out the way first.
Well, I'll do a little bit, and then we'll
Okay.
give our opinions, and then
Okay.
I'll do a bit more. In fact, I'll save the heartbreaking stuff for the end.
Oh, no, I want to know what this is.
This is the most dramatic turn behind the scenes we'll ever have in Finish Big.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or
No,
not.
I'm being serious.
Really?
Yes, when I was reading this in the
no.
bath. It's so funny. I was reading in the bath, right? And I was playing classical music, and then this really sad string concerto came on. And just as I was reading these passages in my Bible, Big Finish,
God.
The Untold Story... No, what's it called? The Inside Story by Benjamin Cook. And I thought, oh, this sad music. I was almost had a tear in my eye as I was reading this behind-the-scenes drama that was okay. And
Okay.
the consequences of it.
Okay, we'll just let's get...
Have I enticed you?
Come on.
Have I enticed you
Okay, we'll
enough
just
yet,
wait for the gossip
listeners?
now. Come on.
Okay, well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about how this was devised. because Death Comes to Time was incomplete when Real Time was mooted. Now, Death Comes to Time actually, that was all BBC, wasn't it? Nothing to do with Big Finish.
All BBC, that's why we're not covering it, yeah.
Yeah. But something in the behind the scenes of Death Comes to Time shone a light on Big Finish. I think it's because they had dreadful scripts for Death Comes to Time, and suddenly we were getting a lot of kudos over in Big Finish's corner for their scripts. So James Goss from the BBC, James Goss, who would go on to write plenty of Big Finishes and produce and all sorts, got in contact with Gary Russell and said, we'd love to do a co-production, BBC Big Finish. And so Gary Russell immediately contacted Robert Shearman, who, one of the most acclaimed writers that they've got. And Robert Shearman came up with 3 story treatments, one of which was about a Dalek on Earth defeated and trying to break out of captivity.
Oh, wow.
I wonder what came of that story. But unfortunately, to the annoyance of everybody at Big Finish, there was then a 1.5 year delay because the BBC said, no, we cannot go ahead with Big Finish. We've got to finish Death Comes to Time. So the agreement was that was going to be finished, and it took a year for the scripts to come in for Death Comes to Time. It was a long, protracted... I mean, it's a shame we're not covering it because it sounds like there was a lot going on there.
I've never heard it.
I've not heard it either.
A year to prepare and 1 day for Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred to record it, probably.
Oh, Christ, it must be terrible. So then they came back to Big Finish and said, right, we want a Cyberman story now. We don't want to do a Dalek story. I guess they sorted out the rights. And Gary Russell did a very, very quick treatment. And actually, he wrote the script in less than a week. So he knocked this out very, very quickly. It was an overcomplicated script because apparently James Goss and the commissioner for BBC, who commissioned this, they had to draw a diagram to try and figure out the plot whilst they were reading it. So they said back to Gary, can you please simplify this? Which he did. So all of that was quite smooth. Then artist Lee Sullivan, who's quoted here in the Inside Story as saying, I didn't read the whole script. I just skimmed it for ideas. Well, no wonder those pictures are a bit basic then. It's just basically Yi Ji So and Maggie Stables looking a bit ponderous, isn't it? Because, listen to this, because he likes the element of surprise when watching the finished production. You're involved in the fucking production.
Surprise yourself.
Good grief. Anyway, and we'll talk about this in a minute. But James Goss says Gary was very keen on 1 or 2 dramatically strong demonstrations of how casually brutal the Cybermen could be. He's quoted as saying he worked really hard to reclaim a lot of the ground lost to the Borg, because there's been a sort of rivalry between Star Trek and Doctor Who. They took their concept of the Cybermen, who've become a bit of a joke in the TV series, and made the Borg really, really scary. Well, weirdly enough, what happened over time was the Borg got less scary as they went along, so now they wanted to come back and make the Borg really scary. Hence the scene in this where someone's head explodes when a Cyberman...
I know, I was really surprised at that. I'm surprised they got through the... I mean, I know this is pre-new series coming back, but even going out on the Doctor Who website, you'd have thought... And I mean, apparently there were warnings to say it might be unsuitable, but there's cyber conversion bits,
which is
isn't there?
Very
but the head
graphic.
Exploding...
Even with
I can't believe
the cyber
that.
conversion, I sort of grabbed you and I went... This is a bit much. You can see all these sores coming in and blood splattering. But then when that man's head exploded, I went, that is too much.
I know.
I'm sorry, the kids shouldn't be watching this.
I was very surprised.
Richard, look out! Why is the doctor lying down?
Ed, you crushed it. Stop it, please.
For God's sake, you're hurting him.
Oh.
Answer me. Goddard thumped him. Goddard knocked the doctor down.
Please,
I don't know why. Ask him. He's coming back.
Who is
Goddard?
What is a Goddard? You came with him on the mothership.
You must remember.
Please.
Probe Nicholas Savage's memories.
Non-relevant information has been purged. You're breaking my head. What is Goddard?
Hello, Nikki. I am.
I repeat, what or who is Goddard?
He's right beside you. Him.
You are incorrect.
Fascinating.
For crying out loud, Goddard tell us what she thinks of us.
He's there!
Look! Oh, dear God! She's crushed!
Strength of 10 men.
God's sake, Goddard!
And talking about the animation, so this is the first time we see the Doctor's blue coat, the Sixth Doctor's blue coat.
Do you know what that was?
Yes.
Go on.
Because it was too difficult to animate the
Colours.
colours.
Yeah. Apparently it was...
So that's why I didn't realise that was... I thought it was more of a creative
so bright,
thing.
It interfered with the animation.
Which then Big Finish adopt later on.
It's a great look as well.
Yeah. But it's not mentioned audio-wise that it's blue. I mean, I can't remember. There is a story coming up with an Evelyn story where she says he's wearing a blue coat.
Well, sorry, going back very quickly behind the scenes. So at this point, so I know there was a bit of a delay in it, but the commissioning of it, the writing of it, and the artistic drawings of it, it's all quite smooth to this point. I'm going to bank it there while we talk about what we think about this, and we'll pick up the rest of the production at the end.
Okay, well, I mean, I've only just realised why it's called Real Time.
Why?
It was a bit of a double meaning because it's Real Time Player that you play it on.
And it's told in real time.
And it's told in real time.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Sixth Doctor and Evelyn.
Yeah, marvellous. Great idea.
I mean, I don't know where they were recording this with recording the other Big Finish things. I feel like they're both quite subdued in it.
You think the Sixth Doctor is subdued in this?
Yeah, I feel like he's not as
He's there in the cigarette.
powerful. No, but just, I don't know, the performance, there's just something about it. He's much more
I didn't get that
serious.
at all.
But it's just more, that's the word I can describe
Well, it's quite a serious situation when everyone's life being threatened.
I know.
all this
There's
time.
he's not as sexy as he is in the other Big Finish, and I don't know if that's because it's for the BBC and there's someone else. Well, there's not someone else directing it; it's Gary Russell. I don't know if it was recorded in a different way. It just feels like they're not the exact Sixth Doctor and Evelyn.
I got
we
that
know
more
from
from
Big
Maggie
Finish.
Stables than I did.
Well,
from
I got it
Baker.
from both of them.
Oh, I thought Colin was really.
I mean,
good in
Maggie
this.
Stables was great. She's all. I mean, they're great. They are those characters. They're just something you could tell. I think if we just listen to this in our run along with all the others in, I think it would stand out as just sounding slightly different in terms of the performances.
What I found really interesting was there was a scene where the Doctor is asked if you had to sacrifice Evelyn and this pair, would you do it for the sake? And he goes, "Yeah, of course I would." Like that's. So I think Gary Russell, what he's trying to do is herald back to that old 60 a little bit, where he's a bit sort of morally dubious. But I get what he's saying. But then there's a wonderful scene where Evelyn's asked the same question, and she goes, "Of course he would, and I would expect him to do it. If it's the fate of humanity against my life, I don't want that on my conscience. Thank you very much." There was a sort of maturity to how they were both on the same page, and yet he still, next time he saw her, was like, "Hello, Evelyn."
Oh yes, they're not radically different. It's a very timey-wimey story.
Very timey-wimey, very complicated.
Why does it have to be
Overly
so
complicated. Do you know what? I said to you several times when we were listening to this, it's very Attack of the Cybermen. Really plot heavy, overly graphic, with a shit ton of exposition. There was one episode, I think it was 5, and it was effectively like a 10
it just explained everything, didn't it?
Exposition scene.
It starts like episode 1 starts. Actually, it starts with that very first scene. They're like, "Oh, let's hope the Doctor can." There's a different time. Is it a different timeline or something? Because they're taking him back and they're saying, "Good luck, Doctor," and then the story starts, and we're right into the story. The Doctor's already landed. Evelyn's already there talking. I mean, it helped that I was watching. I had pictures to go along with it. If I didn't have the pictures to go along with it, I might have got a bit more confused.
Quite simple, because it's all set in and out of that pyramid.
Well, it is. It's simple, but it's just where people are, who they are. I mean, it really did help. We watched all of these, and although it's not up on the web, they are on YouTube, everyone, if you want to give them a go.
And I would say do give this a go. It's a curiosity.
And also, I was surprised. I was getting used to the animation as well, because Sharda's a little bit more animated. This is more static, and it's just like watching a telesnap reconstruction. It might as well be a 60s reconstruction, but with the Sixth.
But if every Big Finish had this, I wouldn't complain.
No, yeah, if every Big Finish, it's just like it's watching telesnap. We watch the telesnaps of real time. Yeah,
because none of the pictures move, right? During these horrific conversion sequences, I'm just getting flashes of what's going on, and my brain's doing the rest. Well, you don't want to know what goes on in my brain.
Yeah.
terrible things were happening to these people.
And the guest casts are great. And actually, Yuji So is
was
much
pretty
better
good
than
in
he.
this,
He
yeah.
started off a bit
Do you know
dodgy.
why, though? Because he's playing an emotionless Cyberman. That's why.
Well, he started off a bit. There was some explanation when he's saying about the home planet and all of his. He's got a lot of exposition. I'm like, oh, it just sounds like he's reading it. But as it goes on, he's not as wooden as he was in Excelis at all. He actually did quite a good job.
It's got a good premise behind this. So the idea is that it's Cybermen from the far future where they've basically been completely destroyed and there's just, a handful of them left and they're being made out of scraps, so you can still see like lots of the bits of the body going through. So I really think we're leaning into the body horror here. They are coming back in time to try and stop something from happening so that timeline doesn't come to be.
Well, there's a virus.
It's sort of Terminator 2 all over
There's like
again.
a virus that's going to stop them, but then they make the virus reverse so it does what? So it doesn't do what it does, but then it's actually has been reversed. Or
The
something
fact that we just watched this 2 days ago and we cannot figure out the plot.
They're 10-minute episodes.
They
10,
flew
15.
by. Yeah, they flew
15-minute
by.
episodes. It's only just about an hour.
Some of the
It's
cliffhangers
the
were
same.
pretty good.
In the same, pretty much nearly the same run time as Maltese Penguin. They've got to do this whole Simon Sixth Doctor time story. They cram a lot in. And there's a fair few characters, so there's always something happening, even in that.
Trouble is, though, we don't spend enough time with those characters beforehand to
Before
care
they all get converted
why
and
they
stuff,
get converted.
yeah.
There was one great cliffhanger where the woman, who's Jane Goddard again, coincidentally, who I thought made a pretty good Cyberman. In fact, it made a fucking change to have someone other than Nicholas Briggs playing the Cyberman, didn't it?
Cyberwoman, first Cyberwoman.
Yeah, Jane Goddard, you can come back any day. Such a refreshing change. And a female Cyberwoman as well. Oh,
Yeah, Cyberwoman. Yeah, I just said that.
Female Cyberwoman. Sorry. I meant to say a female Cyberman, you know this. So she went in through the portal, but because the portal takes you through time, she's converted into a Cyberman and then comes back through again 2 seconds later. So she's a person, portal, Cyberman. And that's the cliffhanger. It's like, shit, we're all going to be converted. It was really great. I like that moment. It was a good use of time
cliffhangers.
travel.
Yeah.
What I didn't like was the fact the way this was all resolved was just for a ton of violence, which is very Eric. There was a big Eric Sword thread running through this of how violent it was, how technobabble heavy it was, and how exposition heavy it was.
But where we are in time, 2002, we haven't got the new series. We're still just coming out of all the Missing Adventures Virgin times.
Yeah, they loved all of this, didn't
It hasn't been sort of
Did you read
sanitised for the
Iceberg?
bigger audience. And
Iceberg? Did you
Yeah,
read
so-
that?
I didn't read
That
it,
was
no.
very graphic.
So we're still in that time. I mean, Big Finish, this is still early Big Finish as well, where, they've done things like the Holy Terror and things they wouldn't do now. It hasn't had that. The BBC are like, okay, let's just chuck this out. They're not looking at the bigger audience that it's going to attract all obviously, it's not going to attract like families and kids and the big, the general family audience
This
that
is
the
for
BBC
fans.
Doctor Who website would have nowadays.
Isn't it? This
This
is
is
for
for,
fans. And it's-
let's do something for the fan. I mean,
Because it's 60 an evening as well, it's kind
Yeah.
of a Big Finish fan.
it is
isn't
for more for Big Finish. Yeah, so actually I'm surprised that they did this and then they did Sharda. But yeah, it's for that time and it's very much of its time.
I'll say this. I didn't like the tone of it in parts.
No,
because
I
it
didn't.
was a bit nasty. But like as a kid, I loved all that stuff. In Attack of the Cybermen, the hand crushing and all of that, Vengeance on Varus, all the torture. I mean, I was a bit of a sadist as a kid. I think most kids are. So I imagine if some kids stumbled upon this with all that,
It would have been
heads
cool. I
bursting
can't believe I
and things
didn't
like
watch
that.
it. Yeah,
How old would you have been?
17 or something.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I just
You were
didn't.
too busy watching those BBV stories.
Yeah,
With
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Shearman's
the time of
bollocks
BBV.
coming out of his boxer shorts. Yeah, there's a scene.
Yeah, okay.
There's a scene.
I know, okay.
He gets out of bed and his ball falls
Yeah,
out.
right, we're not talking about that right now.
It's very embarrassing when that happens. Sorry, how do we get here? From Evelyn's...
real time, what are we?
What about the exciting climax where,
Well,
spoiler everybody, the
no. So
identity of the cyber controller turns out to be...
Evelyn Smythe.
Dun, dun,
But I think
dun.
you could very easily just say this is all in a parallel universe.
Well, it's never
Parallel
explained.
Doctor,
It's
parallel
literally
Evelyn.
never
This
explained.
was a possibility that she would have been the cyber. Yeah, it's not explained because I think there was planned of
a
sequel.
to explain it. Well, what would have happened is somehow I think she would have been infected by that virus because there's that suggestion towards the end of the story. She's got to be converted, turned into the Cyberman, and then the Doctor will just push the big Groundhog Day reset button, and it'll all be all right again.
Do you have in your gossip why they didn't carry on? It was just a change of plan.
No, they don't say.
They just said we're going to do Sharda instead.
Yeah, they moved on to Sharda after that. Yeah. Which is a shame, because I think it probably deserved a sequel, this. It feels like there's a lot unexplained at the end.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably why I've never really bothered with it before or got into it. And I don't really think of it as a proper Big Finish release or a proper Sixth Doctor and Evelyn story. It's just this weird thing on its own. But it was better than I thought it might be.
Bit where Evelyn went, I'm bloody terrified.
Yes.
Oh, we've got head burstings and
someone
swearings.
almost sweared. Someone almost swear.
Yeah, I
Said
think
something else as well. Did someone say shit or something?
I feel like we're trying to make Doctor Who a bit adult in this.
Yeah, it's just trying a bit too hard.
But
and
I
it's
will
a bit
say,
of an overcomplicated plot.
I was never bored.
No,
there were bits I didn't
wasn't.
like,
No.
but I was kind of entertained throughout,
It's
and I
done
was
its job.
curious to see how it was going. And I think the animation helped a lot.
And the Cybermen designs do look very
pretty
cool.
great. It
Very,
reminded me a
very
bit of
cool.
the Flood from the comic strip. Was that was Lee Sullivan as well, wasn't it?
He's got a very distinctive style. He's
that
got great
Scott Gray?
artwork.
Might have been
Because
Scott
Lee
Gray.
Sullivan is doing the previews for the Big Finish in the Doctor Who magazine. You know, the little some of the
Fabulous.
artwork
He's
for
responsible
that.
for making Evelyn that fat old woman. Then
Yeah, but in this they based it on actual Maggie Stables. In this, they just give her sort of like
Maggie Stables was thin. Maggie Stables was very thin with
Hang on.
dark hair.
Yes.
Not a fat old woman.
a fat old woman in Doctor Who magazine preview. Real time is Maggie Stables just with a bit of white hair.
Oh, okay. If you say so.
It is Maggie Stables. They are drawing Maggie
It
Stables
looks anything like Maggie Stables.
in real time. Are you serious?
She ain't got-
It is.
She ain't got no green scales on her face. Like she did on the front cover of the Sandman.
In real time,
Maggie
this is Maggie
Stables
Stables.
is on the front cover of Doctor Who and the Pirates. Done it nothing like that fat old woman.
The fat old woman is Doctor Who magazine. Can you imagine in your brain, real time, what those pictures look like?
I can't.
Okay, well you're thinking of the wrong
Say the
thing.
word fat either. It's very rude. Honestly, you're being incredibly offensive.
Let's go on to the next one then.
No, wait. I'm not finished
you still
yet.
got gossip.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I did love the bit where 60 said, my love for Evelyn can never make me inferior.
Oh.
Gary Russell is completely in love with the Sixth Doctor and Evelyn, I think. And I think he did write that relationship really well. I'm giving this a thumbs up, even though I'm a sort of a sensitive soul these days. And so I find these moments of extreme violence a bit much. I don't really like him in Doctor Who anymore.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Now, are you ready for this?
Oh, here we go, everyone. I have
big
no
reveal.
idea what this
The
is. Are we all
huge
ready?
real-time,
Get
behind-the-scenes
ready,
drama that occurs.
Here we go. This better live up to your hype.
It breaks my heart. You
Oh,
wait.
no.
Okay, right. So, Alistair Locke did the post-production and music for this, okay? But unfortunately, due to ineffective time management, he was doing both Real-Time and Neverland at the same time. So, Gary Russell says, I felt Alistair had not perhaps made the best use of his available time. As a result, both projects were being worked on at breakneck speed and were running incredibly late. That inevitably led to arguments. Alistair and I agreed never to work with each other again.
Oh my god.
I still consider him to be the best sound designer they ever had. Wait, I'm not finished. So William, he says, that's William Johnston, who's the editor, he's the one that's editing this all together, has frequently taken it upon himself to tell me how crap the scripts for both Neverland and Real Time were, how badly directed they were, how badly acted they were, particularly by their respective lead actors. He had suggested we re-edit and re-record stuff to a professional standard. Wait. The blame for the lateness on both projects can, I'm afraid, be laid very squarely at Alistair's door. He finished work on Invaders from Mars in December and had nothing else but Neverland to do, but chose not to start that until May, the point at which Neverland should have been being pressed and Real Time nearly finished. It all got very hot and bothered and desperately silly and childish, and it cost us dearly. Neverland was overlong, and Alistair requested more money. He got it, as indeed he should have. It was more of a six-parter, really, but the delay meant that for us to get it out, it cost us even more money to have the CDs pressed than normal. On top of this, BBCI were pointing out that the delivery date had been given to them by Alistair for real time had been regularly missed, which made Big Finish look bad. It looked even worse when William phoned James Gossip and said he thought that Evelyn being the cyber leader revelation was crap, and told that he was cutting that entire plot line out. This is the editor, not the director or the writer.
Sounds like a dick.
James pointed out, as William was not the writer, the producer, the director, or indeed part of the Big Finish team, he was to do nothing of the sort. It had taken. I then had to deal with understandably narc people from BBCI demanding to know why they were getting calls like this. I felt it made us look woeful. Indeed, in many respects, we were being woeful. They made it clear that if we did another project with them, which was now by no means certain, Alistair Locke was not to be involved.
I don't think that William should have been involved in anything ever again. Who the hell is this William that's telling everyone what he thinks?
The last word on this. I have the greatest respect and admiration for Alistair's work, says Gary Russell. He is a genius in his field and gives 150% of the time, if he's in the mood. His and my friendship, I discount William as he wasn't someone I knew before we started Big Finish, nor would he be someone I'd choose to know outside of Big Finish. Is the only one that suffered irrevocably due to our work on Big Finish, which is sad. Alistair Locke declined to be interviewed for the book. This is the last time.
Alistair Locke?
This is the last time he worked for Big Finish.
No!
Until he came back and did the 2 comic book adaptations they did years and years later.
Oh my God.
But he is such a talent. What a shame.
I'll blame that William. Who the hell was that William?
I don't know, he sounds like a right arsehole, doesn't he? So I'm sad to leave real time on that note.
God, that is devastating. No more.
by all
Alistair Locke
accounts-
has been locked out.
This is the sort of the most dramatic behind the scenes thing that's ever really happened.
That
And
sounds
Alistair
something.
Locke was right there back at the start with Bernice Series 1, wasn't he? And Oh No It Isn't.
Alistair Locke.
So Alistair, from me to you,
Cheers.
you were the best.
Well done.
And we will miss
Sorry
you.
to see you.
We
We'll see
salute you.
See you in about 100 episodes' time for the comic strip adaptation.
I'm going to say, I don't think your work on Real Time was your all-time best, but your work on Neverland was
Yes.
fabulous.
Yeah.
If you did that in a hurry, good grief.
Bloody William don't know nothing.
No. Get out of here,
I'm
William.
going to look his name up and find out where he is.
Okay, well, moving on.
Okay, next release. No Place Like Home came free with Doctor Who magazine in January 2003. Starring Peter Davison and Caroline Morris.
Oh my god, it's only a second story, you know.
Yeah, this was written by Ian McLaughlin, who obviously created RMM and wrote Eye of the Scorpion, directed by Gary Russell. So now, okay, we've done, the last freebie we did was The Ratings War,
Oh, which we love.
which we really like with...
Oh, come
I knew this was going to happen the moment I said it.
As our grand fourth song turns your brain to mush. If they don't put that
Please.
song on,
Oh my God.
on that Rusty Davis special.
Well, I'm dreading when this is on TV because you're going to be singing that the whole
Kill
time.
them all.
Please.
Kill them
Anyway.
all.
So I...
Do you remember it goes like this? La 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 la
Yes,
la
I know.
la,
We've done this
la.
episode.
Oh yeah, sorry. No place like home.
I really like when they do these free Doctor Who magazine ones because they always
'cause
take
they're
something
free.
because they take something from the magazine, something that's unique. Like Beat the Meat was from the Doctor Who magazine comic strips.
Oh yeah. This
So
has
in
got that
this one,
shady shade.
It's just got shade
Is
in
it shady or shade?
Shade. I always say shade.
Oh, okay. He looks a bit like the Raston Warrior Robot. Actually, no. He looks a bit like the Dark Androids from Earthshock.
Yes.
with the sort
yeah,
of
black with the
bulbous round head.
Yeah. So this is a very simple story.
Very simple.
The Doctor and new companion RMM are walking around the TARDIS. So it's just a bit of a chance for them two to have a bit of a chat, really, and we get to know RMM a little bit more.
They're walking all around the TARDIS, picking up all the cat shit that RMM's cat is leaving all over
and
the
Perry
place.
is off somewhere. I don't know. She must be sleeping or having a shower or something.
The Doctor calls it cat messages.
Yeah.
Your cat's left load of messages all over the TARDIS. No, I can tell you where Perry is.
Where?
Because Ian McLaughlin
Yeah.
was asked this question in the Inside Story.
Oh.
Where's Perry? He says she's in bed sleeping off a hangover she picked up when she and RMM went out on the lash.
Yeah, it's quite nice. It's nice to have just these
Fun,
moments.
aren't they?
Yeah.
This is a really fun set of regulars.
It is super fun. And so Shade, did you know who Shade was then before?
Well, I've read the Fifth Doctor comics, yes. So I did know he was... but what is he?
So I first knew Shade, in the Fifth Doctor comic strip, The Stockbridge Horror.
Oh, yeah. Maxwell Edison.
Yeah, so Shade is like sort of part of the Time Lords and somehow turns up in the TARDIS in that. It turns up in the TARDIS in this one as well, because the Doctor already knows who's Shaded. Linked to the Matrix.
Oh,
something like that.
It's always a Matrix.
But the Stockbridge Horror is the one which I always remember, where the Fifth Doctor is giving his stocky top
Oh my god!
vibes in this. Do you remember
God.
that?
Mark has just shown me a page from the Stockbridge Horror. Davison's got his kit off. Oh, look, he's got a nice hairy chest. Look how muscly he is. There's no way that Peter Davison was that muscly.
He is, yeah. So it's
Maybe
that
this was
story.
the point where DWM came and visited him and did some pictures of him as he actually is.
So
No
that's the
wonder
story
you
that
paid
Shade
attention to that back in the day. Davison with his kit off.
So that's where I first saw Shade, and he comes back in all the Eighth Doctor comic strips as well, doesn't he? It's Fat. Is it Fat? Faye?
Yeah,
or something like that.
Faye,
As
yeah.
Faye?
Yeah. Faye's the one who kisses Izzy.
Yeah.
The first lesbian kiss, and it got
Yeah.
Rusty Davies very hot under the gun. How old was you when you was reading those comic strips?
No,
Huh?
I don't know.
You weren't fiddling with yourself while you were looking at
no, oh my
Pete Davison
God.
with his kit off, were you?
Anyway,
Dread to think.
so
you know.
Shade is in the story, so it's
Yeah.
very
It's
simple.
great fun, actually. I like Shade. And the voice, it's like Mark Donovan. He's very fun. I thought he's a fun character. He's not in it for very long, though. Mind you, it doesn't last very long. It's only, half an hour this? 25
Yeah,
minutes?
it's about half an hour. And it basically turns out that like some rat thing has got into the TARDIS and has evolved and
It's
is
a mouse.
gonna
They keep calling it a mouse.
and it just wants to sort of take over the TARDIS and then is defeated quite easily. So it's a very throwaway thing. It's like a one-page comic strip
Yeah.
that you get in Doctor Who
It
magazine.
actually reminded me
So-
very much of the one-issue strip Beautiful Freak, which is where Izzy gets turned into a fishwoman. And there was one just tiny little story, 7 pages, where she's getting used to it and he has to try and acclimatise her to being underwater and stuff like that. So all set in the TARDIS, the Doctor and the Companion, no real drama occurring. And actually, Davison and Caroline Morris already have great chemistry.
I think Caroline Morris is
I
excellent
think she's
as
great
Aramel.
as well. Our Big Finish hoes weren't too impressed with her when we asked about them last time, were they?
The Scorpion did quite well.
Yeah, but everyone was going, this is before RMM went off the boil. And I'm like, went off the boil? What was that?
No. And this is still
She's
free
just
to
having
download.
fun.
Download this free from the Big Finish website. It's still there. It's available.
Yeah.
Give it a go. If you haven't heard RMM, it's a perfect way just as a taster. I can see why they did it.
I thought it was very funny when the Doctor and RMM kept taking the piss out of that mouse. I wrote down some of the lines. The Doctor goes, it will squeak when it's spoken to. And then he says, not even a big cheese like you. You know, it was sort of fun lines like that.
It's fun and it's great to have the Doctor. I mean, Perry's supposed to be quite new anyway, so she's not that moany Perry that we might get later on. And we haven't got a Tegan there to go, who's always there, that's moaning at the Fifth Doctor. So it's nice that the Fifth Doctor has
Do you know what it is?
somebody like RMM who is having a great time and also gets on with Perry as well.
It's a great
It's
rapport.
just a different
It's
vibe
a
for the Fifth Doctor.
TARDIS full of young, beautiful, spunky regulars, you know? And they're just having fun. And
Yeah.
actually, when we do come down the line to more dramatic stories like Council of Nicaea and Son of the Dragon, they actually do drama really, really well. But we get a couple of stories now where they're just having a lot of fun. Church and the Crown and that sort of swashbuckling adventures. And it just feels like, you know, because the Fifth Doctor's basically been saddled with Nyssa for the whole run so far, and he ain't going to have too much fun with her, is he? So now he can finally have some japes with his companions, which is nice, I think. Did you... I said here, this is a great welcome to Doctor Who after it's already in full swing. There was a lot of discussion about the TARDIS, why he left Gallifrey. There was a lot of sort of catching the audience up.
Well, it's sort of catching the audience up, but it's just introducing RMM to all of this.
Yeah.
And actually, I wonder if that's because then she's that historical companion, a bit of a Leela and a Jamie. So maybe this just it fills in that gap that actually, by the time they get onto their next full adventure,
We don't normally
she's
see
more
this,
up
do
to
we?
date with
yeah,
all of it.
You're right. Normally, they come into the TARDIS like Turlo. Oh no, actually, I'm just talking bullshit. I say Turlo in Mordred London, and then literally the first scene of Terminus is him and Tegan that actually acclimatising in the TARDIS.
Maybe it's just a bit of a filler within that time. Time has passed. She's already developed a relationship with these people, so when she carries on, it's not so they're not explaining loads of stuff to her, or they don't need to explain stuff to her.
I've got to say, of the three, this was my favourite. And that surprised me because I wasn't expecting
I'm
it.
surprised,
And I think that's probably why I wasn't expecting much from this. I was expecting huge things from Rob Shearman. I was expecting... I don't know what I was expecting from Real Time, but it was flawed. It was more flawed than I thought
No Place
it was
Like This
gonna
is
be.
the easiest listen.
Yeah. It was really, really fun to listen to. Very entertaining, and there was a few character moments in there where Erin talks about her mum. The Doctor talks about why he goes around the universe helping people. A chance for them to get to know each other. Comic strip character popping in. A silly villain. The end. Marvellous.
Does Dr. Ho have anything about this?
What do you mean?
Is Dr. Ho doing his oh ho ho?
Oh,
On Dr. Ho?
No, I don't think.
No, no Dr. Ho.
I don't think Dr. Ho did Real Time. No,
None of them.
none of them.
Wow.
Well, I didn't get the subscriber bonus. I wasn't really writing the reviews when the first one came out, and Real Time came out, and No Place Like Home. How am I going to write a review about that?
Oh, I'm sure Dr. Ho could have done.
It's
Anyway,
very
we'll get
slight,
to it.
you know. It'd be hard for me to have an opinion about something that slight.
Okay, well, there we are. Well, I've got my chronology moment.
Oh, go for it.
Fairly simple. So last time we had the Holy Terror with the Sixth Doctor and Frobisher. So it can sort of go either before or after,
Yes.
depending. Because Frobisher is just having a bit of a pause from his time with the Doctor. And then at the end of this, he takes up and goes back again. So, I mean, I'm just going to put it after the Holy Terror.
What is a crime is that there were no further
That's the
Frobisher
thing.
adventures.
I don't know. There's nothing either side of these to explain. One day, maybe Frobisher will come back one day.
Jezek is
knows?
extremely competent in the role and has brilliant chemistry with Colin
it's such
Baker.
a shame.
They just didn't sell, did they?
Please,
That's the problem.
after the 60th, everyone's going to go comic strip character mad, and then Big Finish are going to cash in and do as many
no.
different things.
Didn't you
the
see-
Maltese Penguin and Holy Terror will be on offer, I swear. Doctor Who magazine, comic strip, ratings war, it's all going to be on offer after the 60th.
Didn't you see? Rusty Davies put up a penguin emoji.
I mean, if he
Oh,
is,
my
if there
God.
is a
You're going to have to redo your chronology
even
then.
if there's a cameo,
Oh, it'd be great.
we're going to get a box set out, Big Finish, aren't
I've
we?
got a feeling because he's got Wrath Warriors, he's got Beat the Meat.
Yeah.
I think he's going to go mad if he puts Dog Bolter in there as well and all of that.
It's going to be crazy.
Wonderful.
So let's all get ready for
So what about
Frobisher
Real
then.
Time then?
So Real Time,
Tricky.
really tricky.
Tricky.
Because we had a really lovely Sixth Doctor and Evelyn series that ended with the Sandman last time, and we were going to get ready for the next one, Jubilee, to open the season. I'm just going to put it at the end of Sandman. This is an extra.
So you are including this then?
I'm good.
This isn't a redundant timeline where...
Oh, it can be, but the more Sixth Doctor and Evelyn, the better, surely.
Well,
There's nothing
Evelyn
really-
didn't become the cyber controller in the rest of these stories.
Well, time is always in flux, isn't it? And anything can happen.
That is a magic answer for any old
But
thing.
I'm going to stick
Time
it.
is
I
in
am
flux.
going to stick it in this run. I'm going to put it after the Sandman.
Okay. Well, it's your moment.
And there you go. That rounds off. That's an extra long series, and you've got a big Cyberman finale now, rather than
Yeah. With the big twist at the end.
with a big twist at the end, which will be forgotten.
Which will never be answered, I know. People will be coming back for Series 2, Jubilee, and going, well, what's happened to Evelyn? She was a Cyberman.
Let's listen out for any mentions of wearing blue, because
Yeah,
I
it
don't
does.
think he's wearing blue later on. So maybe once we find out where he's mentioned wearing blue, maybe we can shove this along a little bit more.
And what about No Place Like Home?
No Place Like Home, straight after I the Scorpion. As I remember, is just fairly new.
And before Church in the Crown.
And before Church in the Crown, it could, I don't know, when do we get to Church in the Crown, which is coming up very soon? We'll just have to see and listen. There might be a bit
next,
at the
isn't it?
beginning. Yeah, it is actually. So it might go the other side of Church in the Crown, but depending on what happens in that one. If there's any mention, I can't remember what they say.
I think they're already in the adventure at the beginning.
They're already in. Okay,
Yeah.
so we can go straight after I have the scorpion. That's fine.
Oh, okay.
Easy.
That was pretty easy, actually. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
what exciting adventures will we be seeing next?
So we're not doing a quiz?
I'll quickly write a quiz now.
Oh, well, I could just ask you 3 questions.
Oh, okay, go for it. We're shaking it up with the
Only
quiz
3.
because Joe's been too lazy.
Let's go.
Duck O'Hurl was too busy having a bath and learning shocking facts about Alistair Locke.
Okay. Question 1. Name the artist who drew Frobisher and is mentioned in the Maltese Penguin.
Oh, Michelangelo.
No.
Oh, who is it?
John Ridgway.
Oh, of course. Wasn't that a lovely touch
Yeah,
as
because
well?
he's like a Van Gogh and an original.
Yeah.
John Ridgway or whatever. Yeah.
Fuck me, I'd rather have a John Ridgway than Van Gogh. You ask me. They are without value. No, not without value. Beyond value.
Okay, question 2. What planet is real time set on?
Oh, Christ, I wasn't paying attention to anything. Alpha Minor.
No.
Earth.
No.
The Pyramid Planet.
No. Kronos! Well, actually, Kronos with a CH, but Kronos!
Kronos!
And question 3. Name at least one other of the companions that's mentioned in this.
There's no place like home.
No Place Like Home.
Oh,
Get quite a few
Perry.
get name check. And not, well, okay, as well as Perry, anybody
Tegan.
else? Yes.
Ace. Oh, no, wait. Sorry.
No, Leela, Victoria,
Sarah Jane?
Sarah, Tegan are all mentioned in this.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
There we go. Well, that was a little bit of oral today, not much.
Oh, my. Did you hear the line in No Place Like Home? She goes, what planet did you get this from? The planet Polyester.
Yeah. Oh, well, I better quickly tell you where we're going next.
Yeah, jeez, we're running out of
Before
time.
the
Come
end of
on.
the episode. So we are back to the Doctor Who main range, everybody.
Da-da-da-da.
Those holes, I'm loving it.
It's the main range. I'm going to ask the host about these ones. Do you know why?
Ho, ho, ho.
Because you've got Necromantia in now. I want to see what people
Right,
think.
okay. So the next releases we're going to be talking about are The Church and the Crown,
Oh, yes. Three Musketeers.
Bang Bang a Boom,
Oh, Angvia, your pits of doom.
Jubilee,
Oh, are you frightened of me, Evelyn Smythe? More than I can tell you.
Necromantia,
Oh, I don't remember anything from that.
and that's all.
All I remember is Peter Davison got so cross, apparently got the writer sacked.
I don't know if that's true.
No, I'm going to dig into my Bible and see if that's true. But what an interesting mix.
Very.
And of course, we've got I Sing.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Well, we'll do that next time. We won't go there right now.
Beautiful
Anyway,
woman.
Don't forget, everybody, in the meantime, to finish
big.